Welcome back to the Data Protection Diaries. It has been a little while. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the ongoing role of the DPO, the changing market, and the role of the outsourced DPO within that. But more importantly, the capacity of those individuals to deliver their work, to do a good job, and to be the best that they possibly can be. I think it's an important thing to touch on. I've had a couple of conversations around it recently, and for me, it's more of an interest piece than, this isn't about training. This isn't about telling you how to do something. I think it's just something that's worth talking about, and it's something that is worth listening to if you are either operating as a consultant, as an outsourced DPO consultant, or if you're looking to appoint an organisation to do that. Anyway. If you're new to the channel, please do make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, thumbs up, comments down below. If you're not new to the channel, welcome back. Of course, also please make sure that you subscribe, like, comment down below. All of those wonderful things that help the YouTube algorithm know that this kind of content is interesting. But for today, let's just get on with what we want to talk about. Okay, so obviously since the enforcement of the GDPR came into play back in 2018, there has been a ongoing continual increase in the number of organisations, the number of individuals providing outsourced data protection officer services out into the world. And certainly from our perspective here at iStorm, the demand for that service has increased quite a lot over the last 12 to 18 months. More companies are looking for support, more companies are looking to outsource that support. And of course, associated with that comes budget restrictions, comes restrictions in the experience of the individuals, the kind of support that's required, the kind of industry that these people are working in, the risk appetite. All of these different things all come into play. I've spoken to a couple of people, and I know a couple of people, and it dawned on me the other day a very interesting fact that somebody told me, that at the time they left their role to go and do something else, this individual decided that they were no longer in a position where they could satisfy the need. They were responsible for 600 entities, so 600 different small business units, we're going to call them. And they were the DPO for 600 different small business units. They were supported by one other person, so one other sort of assistant, but they were providing support services, guidance, and information potentially to 600 business units. I keep saying 600, just because it's insane. It's a huge number. And it got me thinking, what is an appropriate level of support for somebody in that kind of role to actually be able to provide? And from the perspective of an outsourced DPO, what kind of level do I feel comfortable with? But also from a client side perspective, at what level should somebody be looking for? What level should of engagement should an organisation be looking for? Of course, this is going to vary wildly depending on what sector you're in, the level of support that's being required, and the kind of activities that are going on. I also have good friends that operate in different sectors that are providing support to 35, 40, 50 different business units, but none of them are supporting this sort of level, this kind of 600 level. Now, I've always taken the mantra that you should never take on more than you can handle. For me to be an effective DPO, especially in an outsourced capacity, where you're the drive and the desire to embed more from a cultural perspective is a lot harder because you're not always in the office. Having too much going on around you can be very distracting. It can take you away from delivering a good service to your clients. It makes it difficult to get under the skin of your clients, and it makes it difficult from my perspective to be able to offer a good service. So we have always looked to restrict the number of organisations that our DPOs support so that they're never over a manageable level, so that everybody is getting a good level of service. Now, This can vary depending on the nature of the client, how much support they're going to need, how many hours or days of support they're taking, the complexity of the kind of queries they're getting, and whether or not they're in an industry where it becomes a bit more FAQ. So there are things that you already are aware of. There's advice and guidance that can be issued in a broader form and can help businesses in that sector. So it becomes easier to manage those clients. The question that was asked to me was, what do I think is an appropriate number of clients for any individual DPO to be able to manage? And I think that's the question that I'm struggling to answer. If you're in a sector, let's call it healthcare, for instance, so if you're in the healthcare sector, like one of my friends is, and you're dealing with a large number of GP practices, you're going to get probably the same kind of query from all of them. So if there's an issue, if there's a concern, you could potentially issue notification, you could issue a memo, you could issue training that actually covers that thing for everybody and for all of those clients within that sector. Again, the challenge with that is that actually, if you get 2 complicated subject access requests or 3 from those surgeries, all of your time is then being consumed in dealing with those, and then you're not able potentially to deliver the support services outside of that. So you need to make sure that you've got a support structure in place, that you've got people that you can call on, that you've got some support there to be able to help you pick up any extra pieces of work, so that you're not being fully consumed by that. Your mental health isn't suffering because you're too busy, but also that your client is still getting the best possible service. That's not to say that this organisation that was a single person dealing with 600 small business unit entities couldn't necessarily manage that activity. They may have had additional support in place. From what I understand, they didn't. And for me, that raises a real concern in our industry, that because there is a lack of experience, potentially a lack of knowledge, and certainly a lack of freelance consultants and DPOs out in the marketplace, that when those individuals get consumed by businesses, they are trying to deliver as much as they possibly can to make it worthwhile, and to make the margins make sense, to make the delivery make sense, and to be able to pay the wages of these people. But you do run the risk that you're going to overburden these people. You're going to overburden the people that are available by giving them so much to do, giving them so much responsibility, giving them so much to look at, that they're just not going to be able to cope. And then we end up with a completely different problem, where all of the people that we do have in the industry that are capable and that are skilled are now being burnt out. And when we don't have the support to replace them, because the market just isn't yet there, and that knowledge isn't there yet. So it's easy for me to sit here and say, you should never have more clients than you think you can handle, or your team should never have more work than you think that it can handle. But also, I have to be commercially minded. Like, we run a business. We need to make money and able to, in order to operate. That's what we're here to do. We are here to be a profitable entity. We're here to employ people. We're here to run a business. But I also have in the back of the mind that that's fine, and doing that is fine, but I'm not going to do that at the detriment of my employees. I'm not going to do it at the detriment of my team. I'm not going to take on so many clients and so much business and put so much pressure on people and on my team that they can't function properly. So if you are running a consultancy, if you're running a DPO service, if you're doing any of these things, be mindful of what you're taking on. Be mindful of your own capacity and what you feel you can deliver, because you have to look after yourself as much as you have to look after your client. And if you're looking for a DPO service and you're looking at what the differentiators are between those organizations, and you care about that kind of level of support and you want to understand how that's going to work, then ask that question. How many organizations is this individual going to be supporting? How important am I going to be to your organization? Am I just in a sea of other people, or am I going to have your attention? And if you're looking for a deeper more supportive DPO rather than just ad hoc question answering. If you're looking for somebody to be culturally embedded, then you need to make sure that you're looking for an individual, a provider, whoever it may be, that can afford you that time and can give you the support that you're going to need to be able to meet your goals. I feel like I've just kind of had a little bit of a rant or a little bit of a preach. I'm not really sure which way this is going to be interpreted, but it just it got me really hard that somebody is expected to support that number of organisations, and that number of organisations are expected to be comfortable with the service that they're receiving. We are in a marketplace where, yes, supply and demand obviously has its balances, and that causes effects, and it causes things to happen in a certain way, but that doesn't mean that the health of the individuals working in this industry or the service that's expected by the clients that are using the services in this industry should suffer from either end. So I don't know, that was just something it caught me. I said I wanted to do a vlog about it. I've done it. I'd be really interested to know your thoughts. What are your experiences with this? How are you finding it? How many people are you supporting? What's your been experiences in the industry at the minute? Drop your thoughts down below. Let me know you have your comments. Put your comments down below. It's always fantastic to hear from you. It's always fantastic to have the engagement. Of course, if you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. Tell your friends, all those sorts of things. And we very much look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thanks very much.